You got to trace it back a little bit to the dynamic that has to do with recorded music. Okay, music essentially, you have people, musicians playing instruments, and other people listen, and there's a kind of synergy that happens in performance in between the performers and with the audience. Essentially, you have the spectacle, which is the performer on stage, and then you have the audience, which is everybody else listening and looking. That's a spectacle, audience, performer situation. With disco, which actually came in around the 60s, but you can trace it back to American Bandstand, where you had a bunch of people dancing, to music, to recorded music, to the top hit playlist. But with disco, what happens is that you have records playing, and then the spectacle is the audience. So that's the performance. The performance is, the audience becomes both, right? Tracing that up to karaoke, what you have essentially is you have a mass media kind of, everybody knows the song. And then they have another notion of wanting to project into the performer, like, I want to be the superstar. With this piece, 3D Karaoke, what I did was I started looking at that kind of karaoke notion. I also wanted to goose it up into the digital realm. So essentially what happens is that I take the karaoke meme, which is, everybody knows the words and this music. I then took Kinect Cameras, which essentially a Kinect camera is, it has an infrared projector that projects a dot matrix, certain, like 25 feet. It's got an infrared camera which reads the dots. So when you put something in that field, that dot field, what that camera does is it can read an X, a Y, and then a Z axis. So it's also got a VGA video camera, and with pixels. So you've got an XY pixel. It then maps that image, the XY, on the XY axis of the infrared, okay? But it superimposes onto 3D. So essentially you have a 3D image. In 3D, once you have 3D, you can use what's a virtual camera. And essentially what that does is you can move it around in a computer. If you have one camera, you're gonna have 180 degrees. Two cameras, you have 360, okay? So what I did was I took this notion of karaoke in 3D. I took the Kinect Cameras, wrote a processing program, which essentially takes and exports that 3D image with the video mapped on top of it into a 3D program, Mesh Lab. I mean, what is more interesting to me is to take something where like karaoke, which is essentially old media, put that into a new media context, which is this 3D. So then you've got this other kind of dynamic of I'm the performer doing my karaoke, but then you get to see yourself with the words streaming underneath. And you're in a 3D space, you're in a virtual space. So it begins to be very kind of disoriented because essentially you're in live space, you're in a media space with your mind and your memory, and you're in 3D, you're in this kind of digital virtual space at the same time. Essentially, if you don't have to think about it, the person comes in and can take whatever they want from it, great, even better. For people who know about this stuff, they go, okay, that's kind of interesting, So that's basically what that piece is about.